As a late 80s and 90s kid, I was really lucky to have a lot of time outdoors. I grew up in a small town, so I had that luxury of being able to cycle around, go play in fields at Independence. But working in a London borough in Haringey, masses of deprivation, especially in the east of the borough, we know some of the complexities around that. And a lot of our children in Haringey, and I'm sure this resonates across London, just don't have that opportunity. So for us, our big focus in Haringey is around play, so that's one of our key priorities. But just setting that up in context, so my role is about health and all policy. So I came to Haringey pretty much after the transition of public health into local government, looking at how we can create a place-based approach and how we can really utilise all those policy levers that we have in local government to increase play, to increase physical activity, health and well-being across the spectrum, to really get that population level gain. So in Haringey, we also have a massive regeneration program. So that pretty much is our lever. So in terms of the scope of our health and all policies, it's all about healthy environments and creating all these opportunities for children to play. But also part of this approach is collaborating and building strong local partnerships. We know some of the complexities around some of our major health challenges, not just obesity, but tobacco, requires a whole systems approach. We need everyone on board. Health alone can't solve some of these issues, but we need to be really clear about where we all add value to ensure that we don't duplicate. It's lean times, we just can't afford to duplicate, and we need to really utilize all the skills that we have locally. So in terms of our approach to obesity, we have our whole systems obesity plan. So last week I was here talking about some of the detail around this. So you'll remember from one of Sarah's earlier slides around the spaghetti map. To set this up, we met with all our alliance partners when we set that up to look at the whole system in terms of where everyone can add value and what our priorities should be. And we came up with this plan around 8 key strands. And to kick that off, Haringey Council, as part of our approach, pledged to review all our no ball game signs, mainly because we wanted to challenge some of those social norms, values and attitudes around physical activity and really start to get that massive culture shift and get children out playing again. So as part of that process, we, mainly Home for Haringey, our housing provider, reviewed all the no ball game signs across the borough. So what they found is we had 230 signs across 21,000 properties. It was quite controversial. So when we went to this, we knew that a few boroughs had suggested it before, councils also across England, but no one had been successful in getting them down because there's a history. So in terms of Homes for Haringey, they'll always talk about all our no ball game signs have a history. So each sign has a history. They went up for a reason. So we agreed that this couldn't be a top-down approach. We needed that bottom-up approach. We needed to work with our residents association, to really untangle some of the complexities, some of the issues that residents were having, especially around antisocial behaviour, and work with them to get the signs down if we're going to have that massive change that we're looking for in our communities. So as part of our approach, we worked with our residents to secure their buy-in. So this was pretty much led by our residents associations. They took a key role in this. And where we could find solutions. So it was very much a solutions focus. What are some of the barriers, what are some of the complexities, and what can we do to really tackle some of the issues that residents might have with balls banging against their wall. So we looked at landscaping and design techniques. So where there were opportunities, they planted our shrubs and hedges and stuff to really mitigate against that. So we got the ball game signs down, but then a more friendly technique came into play. And part of that again was engagement with the local community through the Respect Your Neighbour campaign. So again, untangling some of those issues that Homes for Haringey have with neighbours and some of the issues around that. So again, it was on a case-by-case basis, so each neighbourhood, and they started with those estates that already had an interest in health and well-being. So in Northumberland Park, again, there's a lot of investment through regeneration there. And to date, over 150 signs have been removed. But throughout this process, our big focus has been around play. So during the consultation, during the engagement with residents, during the period of the review, we had 38 play days delivered across estates, and we worked with our key partners in the Obesity Alliance, so Haringey Play Association And again, the focus was on sustainability and training up residents to be able to run their own play days, so investing in that, and again, volunteering and helping them to do it for themselves. But also continuing to challenge those misconceptions about play. So I think as many boroughs, I'm sure, will also face very similar challenges, that sometimes residents view play as antisocial behaviour, there's noise involved, and we have to make sure that we're able to tackle that. So as part of that review, it was challenging those misconceptions. Which gets us to the weekend of play. So as part of our anniversary, our first year anniversary of taking down 150 signs, we invested in a weekend of play. So it was one weekend, and we had a number of our alliance partners on board, almost 20 partners, and we had 4 play streets outside schools. So on Friday, kicked off with schools closing the streets, and the whole school came out to play. And then across the weekend, we had 11 park-based activities in 8 parks. Our leisure and parks facilities have an activation fund, so some of our smaller partners, very small charities, very small community organisations, were able to take advantage of a £200 activation fund to cover costs like water and things for their volunteers and play equipment. And then we had 6 taste to play streets. So again, looking at the fact that in the east of the borough, we have fewer play streets than the west. So the west is the more affluent part of Haringey. And we really wanted to increase play and those opportunities to tackle some of those barriers towards play in our most deprived areas. And then again, Homes for Haringey investing again in play estates, so 6 play estates over that course of the weekend. So overall, really successful weekend. But our key focus is around sustainability and ensuring that this can continue to happen once the weekend was over. And as part of that, we now have 3 permanent play streets in the east of the borough off the back of that. So 3 of those 6 have got permission to do it permanently. So that means every fortnight they'll be having a day over the weekend of play, which is hugely beneficial if you think about the impact that that's going to have over the course of the year. And 2 schools now have play streets taking place each term. So definitely moving away from the council doing things to more being an enabler, coordinating, and finding sustainable ways to have that population level impact.